Hello, welcome to the homestead. Just kidding, I can't go to the homestead yet because I'm in quarantine for a little bit. I might be going next week up to a month from now. So in the meantime, I am staying at my mother's house. And I have started the seeds and I'll show you those in a minute. But in the meantime, I'll just go over everything that I guess is kind of going on, like with the homestead and like all the plans we have and stuff. I have been filming all this week, but I didn't like the footage I got, so I'm just gonna re-summarize it all in new footage. But since you guys haven't seen Babu in this video, I will show you her again. Babu! Hi, Babu. Yes, she pretty much lives on my mom's bed for the entire day until my mom gets home. And then she goes downstairs and then sits on her other bed, which is by my mom's computer. She's not cold, it's actually really hot in here. She just shivers because she's a chihuahua. Can I see your face? So despite what it seems, Babu is an old lady. She's 10 years old, possibly 12. I can't quite remember off the top of my head. I think she's 12. I think we got her. I mean, I think she was born when I was 10. She doesn't really have any teeth. She has about 5 teeth left. That doesn't stop her from chewing on things she shouldn't. And she used to have a ton of gray hairs, but she doesn't have them anymore. It's really weird. She's gone full Benjamin Button on us, and she's getting younger. I'm gonna tuck her in because usually that makes her quit shivering. She likes to be in a nest. Yes, don't you? She will be going up to the homestead with us. I don't know if she'll spend the winter up there with us, because originally I was going to take her there. Sorry if you hear paper, I'm holding a paper. Originally she was going to go up there with us and stay the whole year, but after seeing how my mother acts around her, I feel bad taking her away, because my mom really loves her. And like that, she's always been the family pet for like the last 10 years, but I think now that my mom is living alone, and our other dog, who was also an older dog, passed away recently, I think my mom's getting a little lonely. So I think instead of taking Babu with me, even though I really want to, she'll stay there. She'll stay with us during the summer. And then if my mom comes back down here in the winter like she wants to, because she really doesn't like the cold, I'll just get a different, like a new dog, well, not a new dog, a shelter dog, to keep me company, because I feel a little bad taking Babu away from my mother. And then hopefully my camera is not like super off center. It doesn't have a screen on it, so I can't see if I'm in frame or not. It's probably either cutting off the top of my head or my chin. It usually is. I haven't used this camera in a long time, and I do not remember how I used to hold it. And then I do have a list of random things I want to summarize. One thing I will point out, if my facial movement looks weird when I'm talking, like I'm not moving my mouth enough, that's because of my wisdom teeth. Like, I've needed to get my wisdom teeth out for a year, so I can't really move my mouth properly. And that's another reason why I don't have a screen, because it kind of freaks me out when I see myself talking, because it doesn't look normal. But originally the plan was to get my wisdom teeth out when I came up here, but we might have to postpone it for another year. So it might be one of those things where I'm not going to get them out until like we literally cannot have them in anymore. Because at the moment I do not have insurance in this state. And I'm not going to be able to get a job anytime soon because all of the businesses where the homestead is are closed because of coronavirus. They're all touristy places like gift shops and diners and stuff, so I was going to get a summer job there to save up during the summer and then have money over the winter, but none of those are going to be open, so I won't have any income to get insurance. And I I don't think you can apply for Medicaid if you don't have a job. I will have to see. Because I do need my wisdom teeth out. I've needed it a long time. My sister, my twin sister, her wisdom teeth came in at the same time as mine, and she's had them out for over a year now, so I'm a little bit delayed. Aside from that, I'm going to introduce you to all the little plants I've planted. It's not a ton right now because it is still super early. It's only April. It's April 7th, and most plants don't need to be planted until May or even June. So first off, I'll show you my main tray of plants. These are mostly tomatoes. There are some like peppers and stuff. Like my mom wanted bell peppers. I hate bell peppers, but my mom wanted bell peppers, so those are here. We also have okra, which my mom also likes. I've never had it. There's a row of cauliflower. They're not looking too good. Like you can see, they're all skinny and weird. So what causes that, from what I have read, is basically all the things you think would be good for a plant. So if it's too warm, too humid, where the plant is growing, they'll get weird like that. And then low air circulation and not enough light causes it as well. I know it's not the light thing, because even though it looks super dim today, normally when it is sunny, this window brings in a ton of light. And then there is the lamp, but obviously that's only covering half of them right now. I rotate this every day so that each side gets equal light. The other thing is vitamins, but I know it's not vitamins because they have had vitamins. And then, like I said, I know it's not the sun. So what I've tried is lowering the temperature by unzipping the greenhouse and increasing the light even more. And then during the day, I also have a fan running on them because air circulation, again, like I said, is one of the things that causes it. But the fan is not over here right now because I need it to cool off my computer, which overheats a lot. And then again, like with tomatoes, it's okay. Like it can be fine because those little fuzzy things you see on the stalks of tomatoes are actually little opportunistic roots. And if you plant those in the ground, they will spread. So I can actually plant a tomato plant like super deep under the ground and like only leave the top out, and it'll be fine. That will support it, and it will just put more roots down. But this one right here is a cauliflower, and obviously you can't bury a cauliflower underground. For all I know though, cauliflowers might supposed to look like that, because I've never planted anything in my life besides my yearly chili pepper plant, which I always had on my windowsill growing up, and aloe vera plants, which I also always had on my windowsill growing up. But aside from those two, I have never grown anything. So this homestead thing is going to be kind of a challenge. My sister is very good at gardening, and my grandma is very good at gardening, so they will be my resources. But a lot of this is the learning curve, which is why I decided to put this channel together. So right here, these are marigolds. 3 different kinds. Let me grab those. So this one is the weirdest looking one, dwarf bolero marigolds. They look kind of fragile, so I don't know how they're going to do in the mountains. Additionally, those are the ones that haven't really started sprouting yet. You will notice that these 2 trays are almost completely sprouted, but this one only has 1 or 2, and who knows, maybe they'll be the best ones of the 3, but right now it doesn't look like they're going to do very well. There's also these ones, which are my favorite. I almost bought them online, but then I saw them in the store. And these are Jolly Jester marigolds. They just look super cool. Again, though, they look kind of fragile, so I don't know how they'll do in the mountains. Lastly, there's just a mix of random French marigolds. The ruffled ones look like they'll probably do better. The ones with the thicker petals, again, look fragile, so I don't know how they'll do. But the main reason why I'm planting marigolds is because marigolds are, they deter insects. The smell of them, insects don't like it. And so they're kind of an all-over deterrent for a lot of insect species. And I'm hoping if I plant them in various corners of the garden, I can decrease some insect problems, which will inevitably happen because this is my first year growing anything, and I am fully expecting everything to die. Lastly, on the right here, these ones are actually not marigolds. These ones are sweet peas, which I have never seen in real life. So I'm very excited for those. I don't even know what they smell like. Growing up, I had sweet pea scented bath stuff, but that's not really a basis for real life. So I'm excited to see what those will end up like. They haven't sprouted yet because I only planted them a few days ago, and also they need, so the problem I'm having is the seedlings need warmth to sprout, but since they're all sharing one greenhouse and I have to leave it open right now to prevent these guys from like deforming, the recently sprouted seeds are not sprouting very well. Like, I have one bell pepper I recently planted that is sprouting, but the other 5 are not doing anything. So I am hoping with enough time that those will sprout, and they're just a little slow going. Additionally, I do not like these pots. Like, they do not retain water well. I have to re-water them like 2 or 3 times a day, and they still dry out. So they're constantly dry, and I'm hoping the seeds will sprout and that they'll grow up okay, and all that will do is make them more durable for the mountains, but you never know. So this is an experiment. Back here is an onion. It's Ailsa Craig onions, or Elsa Craig, I don't know how to pronounce it. They're show onions, so they're like really big onions. I am not expecting them to get really big. I planted them as an experiment to see if they'll survive the mountains. Down here, I have also planted 3 other kinds of onions and 2 kinds of beets. The beets will probably be fine. Beets are a durable plant. The onions are what I'm more interested in because a lot of animals don't like the smell of onions and garlic, so they also act as a deterrent, and also onions are great. So I'm not expecting the Elsa Craigs to get huge, but they may be durable enough to survive the mountains. And then these ones are other species that I am trying to see if they will also survive. This year is all about experimenting and trying a bunch of different species of the same plants, which is why I have like 16 different tomato plants, even though I don't like tomatoes that much. Back here we have my herbs. This one's thyme. I think it got too cold yesterday. It's kind of shriveled up. It might perk back up again, but worst case I'll just plant another thyme because those are going to be indoor plants anyway, so I'm not too worried about the season. These 2 are cumin, which are my favorite. These 2 in the front are dill, which is why they're all squiggly and weird. This is a cinnamon basil, which I've never heard of, but my sister said they're pretty good. And this is bee balm, which is a medicinal plant. I think it's related to lemon balm. Babu, I see you. What are you doing? Are you eating food off of my plate? Yeah? It's eggs I had earlier. She wags her tail like that when she knows she's been doing something wrong. She knows she's cute, so... And she's an old lady, so my mom kind of lets her get away with whatever she wants, which is fine. She, like I said, she's an old lady. She's past the point of being trained to not do things because she knows what she's not supposed to do and she doesn't care. And then lastly, we have this oregano. This one I actually planted about 3 months ago. It's been underneath that heat lamp there in my old bedroom. And it was the only surviving herb I planted in my old bedroom, mostly because the other ones that sprouted were not ones I cared about. So I just thinned them out and went ahead with the oregano to keep it alive. This one actually was only about this size when I planted it here about a week and a half ago, but now that it's getting real sunlight, it's gotten really big, really quickly, which is what I expected because that's what usually happened with my peppers when I grew them. Once they got real sunlight, they'd get super big super fast. So I rotate it like every day to try and keep it even so that there's not like one super small side and one super big side. But one thing I am excited about is that oregano is apparently perennial, which means they grow back every year. And I did not know that, but that means that if I take good care of this plant, it'll come back every year. And I will get to keep my first ever plant for the rest of my life, because it'll just keep growing back. Lastly, in the already planted things is this bin here, and this is actually potatoes. So there's 9 fingerling potatoes in there, and I have more potatoes I'm going to plant. It's just that those ones sprouted super early, and they were getting to a point where I was pretty sure if I left them any longer, they were just going to wither away and die. So I've put them in there, and the reason why it's so shallow is I want to see if, as the plant grows taller, if I bury the plant, if just like sweet potatoes or even tomatoes, it'll start growing more roots from the stalk into the dirt, and then since it's a potato, hopefully grow potatoes everywhere in the dirt. I don't know if that'll actually happen. It does work with sweet potatoes, but it might not work with normal potatoes, and in that event, I only lost 9 fingerling potatoes. It's an experiment. I could research it, but I just want to see, a lot of this I just want to see if it'll happen. Like, I'm not invested enough to research my 9 little potatoes, but I'm invested enough to try it out. Babu's waiting in here to see if I'll leave, because if I do, she's going to pee in my closet. So I'm going to close my closet so you can't do that. Yeah. She's turning into a real cat. Lately, she hasn't wanted to go potty on her puppy pads or outside, so I don't know if she's throwing a temper tantrum or what. Come on, Babu. We'll close this. And as you can see, the room is a mess. And that is because I am currently organizing everything to see what I'm actually going to take into the homestead with me. Because a lot of it, well, not a lot of it, some of it is not going to go with me because some of it is seasonal. Like over here, this is like my summer stuff, my winter stuff, and I don't need that right now. It's a 90-foot camper. I don't have a lot of space to be storing things, so those are going in the shed. Right here is actually a pile of quilts I have, well, quilt squares that I've been knitting, and I'm going to make quilts to sell on Etsy. Hopefully to bring some income in, since like I said, I am not going to have a job up there, and with the coronavirus problem, I didn't get most of my last paycheck, and my mom is currently paying my brother's rent and possibly my sister's rent because my brother lost his job and my sister is a cashier, and where she works might be getting rid of cashiers, so she might be losing her job. So me and my mom are not going to have any money. I currently have about $20, not counting my credit card obviously, but I have 20 real dollars and then I have a credit card. So I'm hoping these will bring some income. Over here I just have my sewing pile. These are actually the flat sheets to go with my bed sheets, because to keep allergens down I'm going to change my bed sheets completely every season, since there is no running water there and I can only wash them every once in a while. So to keep allergens down, I am changing my sheets every season, and these I am going to turn into curtains and seat covers and things so that the whole camper matches when I change seasons. Hi Babu, what are you waiting for? In addition to those side hustles though, I am also during the summer going to pick huckleberries to sell, which if you don't know what a huckleberry is, it's related to a blueberry, and it's it can't be commercially grown, kind of like truffles. Like they can't grow them, they don't know how. There's like so many factors into growing them that they can only grow wild, like reliably. So they're huge money here. Like during the summer, a lot of people go out to pick huckleberries and sell them. Originally I was going to pick them and sell them fresh on the side of the road, but because of coronavirus there's probably not going to be a lot of tourist traffic, and even if there is, I don't know if I want to interact with it because I do have asthma, and I don't want to get coronavirus. But so instead I am probably going to can them and see if I can dehydrate them, because I like them better without sugar added, and sell those on Etsy and Facebook. So hopefully that works out. And then in addition, I am also going to be getting wildflowers and small river rocks to turn into jewelry to sell on Etsy, because normally my job is graphic design, but since it is an off-grid homestead, there is no electricity and there is no internet, so I can't be working a job where I need to be actively interacting with a customer. So in Etsy works a lot better because I can just check up on it like once a week at the library when the library opens again, and deal with all the orders I have, if any. downstairs. It's a little bit noisier down here, so you probably will hear echo and the fans running. This is the other wooden shelf I have. I was also going to put plants here, but I did not have as many as I was expecting to have because only so many of them can be planted this early. Kitchen, it's an open plan place. So kitchen is over here. Everything is tile, which is good for Babu because she likes to pee on carpet, but bad for audio. Lighting is not great either. This is improved lighting from when I first came here. I had to switch out a lot of the light bulbs so that it didn't look terrible. So now it looks slightly less terrible. Oh, this is the thing I'm most excited about. My mom has an air fryer, and it's literally the most amazing thing ever. I wish we had electricity on the homestead just so I could have an air fryer. But that's unfortunately not the case. Oh yeah, I forgot to show you my little tiny compost bin. So I just, because where my mom works, because she is still currently working, they sell a bunch of those tubs. So I told her to buy 4 of them for me to experiment with. And so for the compost pile, all I've done is get a knitting needle, make it really hot on our stove, because we do have a gas stove with real fire, and then melted holes into the bottom of it. And then I put some old dirt from old flower pots in there, and then whatever we're composting. So like, there was a lemon this morning that was moldy, and I don't know how it was moldy because I bought it 2 days ago. Well, my mom bought it 2 days ago. It must have already been damaged. Me and my mom are gonna have to figure some stuff out since we pretty much can't guarantee any money right now. I'm gonna see if I qualify for the CARES Unemployment Act, since technically I was gonna get a job when I went up there, but now I can't because there is no businesses open. But in the event that I don't get approved for that, I'll just have to go extra hard on the side hustles. I'm probably, I can't think of anything else I'm forgetting. I probably will, like as I'm editing this, think of something I forgot, but I think I'm just gonna put this in for editing, and whatever I remember I'll add to the next video. So bye for now. I will see you next time. Hopefully I'll be updating these vlogs once a week. I was aiming for Mondays, but it's Tuesday, so clearly I didn't do a good job. There's a short story competition and I really want to join it, but I have literally no ideas for writing short stories. Like, any ideas I like, they're super long-winded and like a novel's worth of ideas, because I've always been a novelist, not a short story writer. And then any short story ideas I have are just like not interesting, or at least they don't seem interesting to me. I've just never been one of those people who can like write a story about just someone going to the grocery store or someone buying a dog. Like, I always want something that's like super shocking, but I don't want it to be like one of those like train wreck or what I call a car wreck ending, where the entire story is just leading up to someone basically getting hit by a car and dying for no reason. Like, yeah, that's shocking, but it's also stupid and it's been done 6,000 times. So maybe I'll think of something. There is like a $1,000 prize, and that would definitely help the money situation. And I have always wanted to be an author, but we'll see what happens. I've shockingly managed to write about 2 paragraphs of a short story, but I already hate it, so we'll see if I finish it. I probably will, just because I need to stop randomly quitting projects just because I don't like them, because you can't make something better if you don't finish it, and obviously I haven't started editing yet because I'm 2 paragraphs in. I don't actually know if I'll even be able to finish this anyway, because if I am going up to the homestead soon, I'm going to miss the submission deadline, and I'm not going to have a computer there. But in the event that I do end up staying here for a couple more weeks, I might as well have something to do. we'll see what happens. It's been a very long time since I've written anything. I've kind of, one of the big things is because I used to write a lot when I was in high school, but since high school I haven't written as much, and I've kind of forgotten how to, like, set scenes, I guess you could say. Like, I don't really remember how I used to introduce characters or how I used to introduce the setting. And so, like, I have a very hard time not just, like, starting the story kind of in the middle of it. And to an extent, I did over-describe things back in the day, but now I feel like I'm under-describing them because I can see it in my head, but I'm not explaining them so that people reading them can see it. And there is obviously, like, a balance to what you should and shouldn't describe. Like, if you go back and look at Harry Potter, almost nothing has a real description. It's very up to the reader to figure out what is going on. Like, you fill in all the blanks. And then you have something like Ready Player One, where he has to spend 16 paragraphs describing one object over and over again. So, my goal is to be in the middle of the two, but I think I'm way below Harry Potter level. I think I'm way under describing things. My other problem is I hate coming up with endings. Like, I can never think of an ending that's, like, worth it, that, like, seems like the story building up to it, like, had a purpose. Like, it always like, no matter what the ending is to me, it always feels like it's anticlimactic unless it's leading into a sequel, at which point it's not an ending, it's a continuation of the story. So with a short story that has to be under 5,000 words, I do want to actually end it, or maybe not, I don't know. I haven't decided. It could be like a open ending, but I don't really want to do an open ending because that's sort of a cop-out. But we'll see. I did come up with an ending, like, just off the top of my head, which is better than what I usually do, because usually I have no idea what the ending is going to be, like, ever, like, even when I'm writing the story, which is not recommended. That's why it's taken 10 years for the final Game of Thrones book to come out, because I didn't plan ahead. We'll see what happens. I don't think I'll win, but I kind of just want to finish it to say I did. Because I don't do these sort of things. Like, my friends were always into National Writing Month and all those things, and I never got into it. Like, I just don't like competitions. Like, it seems like more stress than benefit to me. But I do need to practice my short stories, which is the main reason why I'm doing this, since, like, National Writing Month is for full novels, which I write anyway. It never seemed beneficial to me, but this one is a short story writing competition, so I guess it's two birds with one stone. I'll get practice writing short stories and possibly win something. The prizes are just like raffles, so, like, I don't actually have to write the story to, like, win any of those, but I just want to say I did it. But again, it depends on if I even stay here for the next 2 weeks. If I do, I'll be able to work on the story, but if not, I'll just kind of have to not finish it. I was tempted to go through all of the stories I've written in the past, like when I was younger, and see if I could make anything out of those. But I didn't feel like going through hundreds of files to find them. Because I have been writing for a very long time, so it's about, at this point, probably 12 years worth of files that I have to wander through. One of these days I will be organizing them all into the cloud, but that's going to take a lot of time, and I might do that today as procrastinating for my writing, because I love telling stories, but I hate writing. Writing is painful. And part of it is definitely the fact that I just see everything wrong with it. Like, I've reached a point in my writing knowledge that all I do, like, the worrying and the technical aspects of it far outweigh the excitement of telling the story. So it's like a very painful process to write for me, even though I want to be an author. And a lot of the time I feel like, since I'm the one writing it, the way I'm reading it is not the same as the person who's like whoever the reader is. My point of view is very different from theirs, so to an extent I feel like I see more of the flaws. And that's true for any skill. Like with my graphic design, I definitely see more flaws than like my commissioners do. But with graphic design, you can see it and you can compare it to other people's art, and you can be like, oh, yeah, I can look at a picture of someone and be like, yeah, their foot is weird looking or something. But with writing, it's intangible. You can't see it, and there are so many different variations. Like if you compare a Douglas Adams book to like Lord of the Rings, those writing styles are very different, but it doesn't mean there's something wrong with one or the other. So it's very hard to gauge writing for me. I don't like intangible things. It's the same reason why I'm very bad at math, because it's very intangible once you get past the point where you can imagine like apples in your head, like 20 apples, like once you're at 5 million or whatever it is, like I can't tangibly imagine that, and that's kind of where writing gets weird for me. And I used to be way better at that. Like I used to be able to just zone out and write things like as they came to me, and now I'm just like so focused on the technique that I can't do that anymore. And then I always feel like restless. Like I always feel like I need to go switch to another app or go watch a video or listen to music or whatever, because like I don't know, I guess that's like my stress response. Like whenever the writing gets hard, I go do something else, and that definitely cuts into the time that I spend writing. And I actually do hope that being on the homestead will help that, because I won't have anything else to distract me besides plants. So I do actually hope that being on the homestead will help me finish my novels that I've been working on for 12 plus years. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to go up, because I mean that's like a writer's dream, being off-grid with nothing to do but spend time in nature and write books. So maybe I'll write my first novel this year, even though that's been my New Year's resolution since I was 12. Anyway, I should stop filming and just start writing, because I am definitely procrastinating again. And it's not a bad story, it's just, it's not as wow factor as I want it to be. Yeah. A lot of writing is confidence. Like, self-publishing is confidence, writing comics is confidence, writing books is confidence. Like, it doesn't matter how good you actually are if you don't have confidence. Like, the worst book ever can get published if the person trying to get it published has enough confidence to ask everyone and keep pushing. And I don't have confidence. I mean, even Harry Potter got rejected, like, I think it was like 14 times. Yeah, so, I mean, this is just a short story, and I'm kind of freaking out about it. Mostly because other people will be reading it if I do submit it, since it is a competition, and other people are reading my stories kind of freaks me out. And that's another reason why I want to do it. Personal growth. But yeah, so this is I guess some insight into my thought process when I'm writing, so you can only imagine what it's like when I'm writing novels. I miss the days when I was 13 and too stupid to know anything about technique, so I could just tell the story how I wanted to tell it. I feel like the same thing has kind of happened with my art too. I worry so much about the technique and the anatomy that I don't draw what I want to draw. I'm not as creative. I'm very worried about staying within the guidelines that are laid out, and I shouldn't be, because once you know the rules, you can break the rules, and I definitely know the rules, but let's see if I'm okay with breaking them.